Quest presents an unabridged recording of Nothing to Gain by Claire Boston, narrated by Casey Withoos. Chapter 1. The clock on the wall taunted Mai On with its slow-moving minute hand. Maybe the battery was dead. It was either that or the day was dragging as badly as it seemed. Normally, she loved working out the front of the bakery, catching up with friends and neighbours, and hearing all of the positive comments about the delicious baked treats in the big glass cabinets. But normally, she'd had a midday siesta to catch up on sleep. Today, she'd been working since 1 a.m., and maintaining a friendly and bright facade was becoming more difficult as the day wore on. She breathed a sigh of relief as the jingle of the bell above the door signalled the last of the lunch rush customers had left. "Thank God," Sylvia said, taking off the powder blue apron she wore and throwing it on the bench. "I've got to go to the toilet. I'll be right back." Mai nodded as her employee dashed out through the kitchen to the back. She could handle this. She'd done much longer days when she'd first set up the bakery a couple of years ago. She was just out of practice. Mai collected a couple of dirty dishes from one of the small tables lining the big glass windows and wiped the wooden surface. Turning back to the counter, she smiled. This was all hers. She'd designed the bakery to have a 1920s feel, like the building it was in. The display cabinets had wide, rounded glass with powder blue name tags for each item. Smudged fingerprints at toddler height marred the perfection, but she didn't mind. It was a joy to see the excited faces of children trying to decide which treat to choose. She smoothed the tissue paper used to wrap the bread and stacked a couple of small white cardboard boxes neatly on the bench, ready for the next customer. They'd almost sold out of bread for the day, so she transferred the remaining loaves to one wicker basket and tipped the crumbs into the bin. The big glass jar containing Florentines was almost empty, as was the shortbread jar. She'd need to make more tomorrow. Simply reviewing her place, planning for tomorrow, soothed her, lifting some of her fatigue. She'd worked hard to make it a success, and no one could take it from her now. She would grow. She'd buy the building she was in, then expand into the empty unit next door. More tables meant more customers. On the way would become even more of an icon in Blackbridge. Mai smiled as she carried the plates back into the kitchen. The bell over the door rang and she hurried back out. "Hi, Aaron!" She'd left messages for her new landlord over the past couple of weeks, but he hadn't returned her calls. She hadn't seen him since his father's funeral, when he'd inherited the building.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?